The Arizona Cardinals should 100% pursue Sean McDermott as their number one option for their vacant head coaching position. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alex Clancy here. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast platform. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel's officially in playoff mode, and every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Woo! This weekend was fruitful, information-wise. This weekend was fruitful, potentially, head coaching-wise for the Arizona Cardinals, and this weekend told us things that we knew and maybe that we didn't know a little bit about, namely, that Sean McDermott was going to get fired. We'll talk about it. There's eerie silence in the Nick Rallis and Drew Petzing front. I know that they're not under contract for the Cardinals. Their names are not tied to anywhere else. It lends me to think there's still a little world where Mikey B's thinking of bringing one or both of them back. I'll talk about it in the final segment. What did we learn from this weekend? What did we learn from the blowout in Seattle? Namely, what did we learn in the Arctic Circle that was the Chicago Bears-Rams game? We'll just talk about it in the second segment. This was a surprise to me. I've talked to multiple people already this morning after the firing. They're like, yeah, not the best move. This was a personnel issue and not a Sean McDermott issue. And while it's as, as old as the chicken or the egg, is it the front office or is it the coach? Is it the coach or is it the players? I tend to think that with the success that Sean McDermott has had, with the lazy Susan of revolving door of coordinators that he's had over his tenure there, it could be Brandon Beane. It could be performance by players. And Sean McDermott is a stable force. I know another defensive-minded guy, but another stable force. Here's the disclaimer. The Locked On Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals aren't going to get this guy disclaimer, okay? Chances are probably not. Maybe he wants to golf and see sun more than 30 days a year. Maybe he wants to get out of the AFC and not have to see Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Drake May and all of these guys. Again, outside of the sister division scheduling. Maybe. Everybody's got a why. Everybody's got a reason. And when you look at this defense, you look at the young talent, it could be far worse. Tennessee is having trouble hiring somebody with all of the money they've got to spend, with another top pick and Cam Ward in his second year of rookie scale contract. I know a lot of teams are still waiting because Rams and Seahawks are still in the playoffs. The Arizona Cardinals, although they are still the odds-on favorite to land Vance Joseph as their head coach, with Robert Salah, according to some, in second place, Sean McDermott should be the home run swing the Arizona Cardinals go and make. Here are the reasons why. One, they win every year. I'm not saying the Cardinals are going to win like the Bills win because they don't have Josh Allen and a crap box division. I know. They make the playoffs every year. Doesn't matter. They're a couple bounces and a 13-second drive away from potentially winning a Super Bowl in Kansas City. Josh Allen did everything that game to win that game. I know that was years ago. They should have beat Denver if they didn't turn the ball over 5 times. What the Bills did this year specifically, just like what Robert Salah has done in San Francisco, is injuries, doesn't matter. You win, you advance. And that's what they did this year. Now, the downside to that is, hashtag analysis, he's not an offensive-minded head coach. So that's going to be the number one pushback that people are going to make, outside of the fact that he's probably not going to come here. But he'd be a perfect fit. He's a better option than Robert Salah because he's been a head coach the last several years and won every year. He's won every year. every year. That's not something to be taken lightly. And maybe he wants to get the hell out of the AFC. Atlanta's hiring Kevin Stefanski. Maybe he wants to get the hell out of the AFC. Who knows? The NFC West, not a fun transition from the AFC to that division. Maybe he wants to get the hell out. He's not going to be a coordinator. He's going to be a head coach somewhere else. And he's probably going to be a head coach somewhere else quickly, because this is the time of this process where some teams would be like, nope, I'm not waiting. You want a job? I'll give you a job right now. And I know it's going to be a hard sell with the Cardinals. Like, I get all of that. I'm not delusional to the fact. But if you strike while the iron's hot, like the Giants did with John Harbaugh and gave him all of King Midas's gold, you don't have to compete. And then Sean McDermott is respected around the league. They will have very strong coordinators that he'll bring with them. It's not going to be Joe Brady. Joe Brady might get the Buffalo Bills head coaching job. Or Brian Daboll. But, like, Sean McDermott is the poster child, one of them. I mean, obviously Tomlin and Harbaugh are too, but they're even echelons ahead, echelons above. He's the dictionary definition of consistency and stability. And that's what the Cardinals need. Would it be the sexiest hire? No. I'm going to do all of tomorrow's show on the offensive side of the ball and the benefits and negatives of that pertaining to head coaching hires with the offensive side of the ball. But when I saw this come across the wire this morning, I'm like, oh, perfect. That'd be a perfect fit. Get him the hell out of the AFC. There's only one NFC job open still, if my math has served me correctly. Crazier things have happened. Now, the downside to it, obviously, outside of the offensive side of the ball, is they haven't gotten over the hump. He is, conservative to the nth degree isn't right, but defensive head coaches tend to be more conservative. They run the ball a lot there. And that is like, they went through who? I mean, Daboll, they went through Ken Dorsey, and then Joe Brady's done a great job, where they've got the best rush attack in the NFL with him and with Josh Allen and James Cook. But again, it's Josh Allen. So yes, you could say the Josh Allen effect made Sean McDermott look a lot better. That's not an original story for head coaches. Ask Bill Belichick. Ask anybody who's ever had a good a great quarterback, a Pro Bowl, all-pro, Hall of Fame quarterback. Yeah, it's nice. Ask Mike McCoy. Peyton Manning should be getting 20% of everything he makes for the rest of his life because of that year in Denver. A couple years in Denver. So by and large, a little reset here. The Cardinals probably aren't going to get their number one or number two options. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't make the best package possible for him and be like, listen, you want to see the sun? You want to not face Josh Allen ever? Every few years? Come to the NFC. There's only one team. There's only one opening. Come on. Come play golf. Do some matching with the young defense. It'll be fun. The Cardinals, your team every day. What did we learn from this weekend? I'll discuss it next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Ultimate QB Football Legend. The draft pick positions are set, and teams are all looking for their franchise quarterback. So many of them. Ever wish to become a pro NFL quarterback drafted first overall by the Cardinals? Well, now you can. There's a mobile game just for you called Ultimate QB Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of the number one overall pick quarterback, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness, to help turn a failing franchise into a dynasty. This is the number one quarterback career mode game on the mobile app store, and it introduces the most realistic environment with full career control. Sign contracts, train and upgrade yourself, build chemistry, and evolve your teammates. Give input to your GM on roster moves, play the actual games in 2D, and rise through the ranks to become a pro football legend. You'll deal with all the ups and downs of a QB career, from rookie nerves to playoff drama and everything that'll shape your journey. Ultimate QB is totally free to play, has no ads, and works 100% offline. Perfect for when you want to sneak in a quick game or two on the go. Just head to ultimate-qb.com. That's ultimate-qb.com, or search for Ultimate QB in your app store. And we've got something special for you guys. Use the promo code LOCKEDON, all caps, in the game store to get a free boost at the start of your career. Ultimate QB football legend, QB1. It's your legacy. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is also brought to you by Bink Prize Picks. Big game is almost here. There's no better way to stay locked into every moment than with Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where it always feels good to be right. With football season coming to its final stretch, now's the perfect time to close it out strong. Prize Picks makes watching the games even more exciting by letting you build simple lineups around player projections, no drafts, no waiting, just football action, and all the way through the playoffs. Makes watching games even more engaging, especially during the playoffs and the big game. Great way to keep playing fantasy football even after season-long leagues are over. This is my favorite feature: early payouts. Say you've got a four projection entry, and you get the first three right. You could see a way to cash out early in case your fourth one doesn't hit. At least you make some cheese in the process. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals, hit that subscribe button, man. Join the Everydayers Club. It's live. People are coming in. You get ad-free audio podcasts, members-only Discord. I'm in. It's going to be such a fun community throughout this offseason, throughout the coaching search, throughout free agency, throughout the draft, and on into OTAs. It's going to be here before you know it. Saddle up with Everydayers Club. The link is in the description. What do we learn from this weekend? A couple of things. One, I'm out on any offensive coach with the Rams. That's one. And it's not because of the final score. It was cold. Chicago's got a pretty good defense. It's so much Sean McVay that I don't care. It's so much Sean McVay that I don't care. That's a Sean McVay-led offense. And it's Matthew Stafford, it's Puka Nacua. It's not like you can't really translate the conversation between what a Mike LaFleur would look like here, because, he takes part in the play calling, but that's Sean McVay. And it's Matthew Stafford, and it's Puka Nacua, and it's Devontae Adams for 14 touchdowns, and Kyron Williams. It's not like, there's some great redeem. Like, they're scoring 40 points a game, and Sean McVay's not calling the plays. It's like, I'm out. I don't need any cloudiness here. They can't control much, but they can control that. The Cardinals. That's one. Number two, that Rams defense last night or yesterday afternoon showed teeth that I didn't even know it had. And I knew. Cardinals up. See them twice. They've been a good defense pretty much all year. Their pass rush kind of disappeared during middle of the season. But what we saw last night was preparation and teeth and grittiness. And if that's Mike Shula's defense, we're going to have a conversation. The other side, the interesting side, the more interesting side for me, the more probable top tier guys that they'd actually be, chasing in Clint Kubiak and Robert Salah. I'll do Robert Salah last. Clint Kubiak, I'll talk more about this tomorrow, but I wanted to give a little intro into this now. Are we sure his offense will fit the skill position players the Cardinals have? I looked at some numbers here. And honestly, I wasn't like, hey, I think this is it, so I'm going to go find the numbers to back it up. This surprised me. I genuinely had no idea. I looked at the rush attempts and pass attempts by the Seattle Seahawks this year. And They were fourth highest in rush attempts and fourth lowest in pass attempts. So, obviously, a more explosive offense. Having a good defense, getting more turnovers, getting, shorter fields helps with that. But, the JSN experience was fantastic. Obviously, Sam Darnold throws the ball down the field a bunch. They ran the ball a whole hell of a lot. So is that an offense that you want to come in here and have it be probably just a better version of what Drew Petzing did? Is that going to make everybody happy? I don't know. Kenneth Walker, 3 touchdowns, 150 rushing yards. That game was just that deep. I mean, from the kickoff with Rashid Shaheed running it back, it's like they had no chance. They had no chance. And then Jake Tongas gets hurt, and it's like Christian McCaffrey was hobbled, midway through the game. So it's just, I don't know how much you could tell about either of those coordinators, Robert Salah and Clint Kubiak, because that was just game script, just getting absolutely abused. The offense couldn't move the ball. The defense got tired, and that was all short. We've seen this plenty of times. Seen this plenty of damn times in Arizona. Robert Salah. I joked like, hey, you know what? If the 49ers get blown out, it'll give the Cardinals a better chance to hire Robert Salah. I believe that. I'm not saying that they will. I'm not saying that he doesn't want to take a job somewhere else. But while I don't think he calls the plays when he's a head coach, I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. What he did with that defense this year was his best coaching job, as directly correlative regarding the Arizona Cardinals story and what they're looking for. They need talent development. And listen, this isn't going to be perfect by any stretch this cycle. You've got to find the best case scenario. And while it was lopsided, which could benefit the Cardinals, because the other team would be like, 50-50. You know what? If that defense shows up again against Seattle, then he'll be our guy, and we'll aggressively, court him. But 41-6, I think is what it was. Yeah, not great. Not great. The Clint Kubiak thing is fascinating, and I'll talk about this more tomorrow. But it's like, is that the kind of offense you want run here? Or is that just what he's done there because that's what the personnel is? It's possible. You got 2 good backs. You got a good offensive line. So you're just going to run the hell out of the ball? Fine. You're just going to air it out elsewhere? Fine. There's a lot of mouths to feed in the pass game. And I haven't done a super deep dive. It was just fascinating to see those numbers. That's pretty jarring. Top 5 rush, bottom 5 pass. Sounds a lot like Drew Petzing. Regardless of if the Cardinals, have a rush attack or not. Well, obviously it was different this year. Obviously it was, they ran the ball at least in the NFL, naturally. Just a lot. Just information salad, man, from this weekend. It was jam-packed with, either tangential or direct correlations to the Cardinals in their search. Just fascinating. This is where it gets fun. There's eerie silence surrounding Nick Rallis and Drew Petzing. Does it mean anything? Probably not, but let's discuss. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action, because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. So here's how it works. Every NFL game day in the playoffs, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. So you open the profit boost pack, you see a couple of them, you can pick your bets, and you put the profit boost towards them, and you get a bigger payout. The cool part about this is it doesn't force you to make any sort of specific. It's like only on single game parlays, only on futures, only on that. That's not what this is. The boosts give you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new. Every play feels bigger in the playoffs, and it obviously is. And the boosts make your bet feel that way too. You make your picks, then apply your profit boost to go with, even bigger payouts while you get the playoffs rolling. So visit FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your Profit Boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. See my big dumb face. You know the drill. Going on year 10. Crazy. Absolutely insane. No contracts for Nick Rallis and Drew Petzing. They're up. But nothing? And I'm not saying for the Arizona Cardinals even. I'm just saying their names aren't getting linked anywhere. And I know Drew Petzing probably, wouldn't. And, there's a world where they're waiting to see where Jonathan Gannon goes, or especially Nick Rallis is waiting to see where Jonathan Gannon goes. If he somehow gets a head coach again, which he most likely won't. Like, if he gets a coordinator job, Nick Rallis is going to go back and be a linebacker coach. So this is such an Arizona Cardinals thing. If they weren't going to retain services, they would have said it in some form or fashion. I'm not saying they're going to because they haven't said anything. I know it's very new. I know a lot of the candidates are gonna, are still in the playoffs. I know that, they don't know who they're going to hire. They don't know what the staff's going to be like. They don't know if it's going to be a first-time head coach where they're going to, fashion themselves a coordinator group, or they're going to let the first-time head coach pick his coordinators again. Isn't it just a little weird that we haven't heard anything? Anything? And I know it's the Cardinals, and I know that they do things weird, and I know we still don't know what Walter Nolan's injury was. That's weird. Protecting the player. Okay, I get that, but every other team tells you exactly what the injury is. So they protect their players. I don't see a world where both of them are back. We have to talk about everything. We have to talk about everything on the show. I don't see a world where both of them are back. Okay? I don't. And it's weird that we don't know anything yet. It's weird that Nick Rallis hasn't been linked to anything. Jonathan Gannon's not getting a head coaching job, so why would he go with him? You're going to demote yourself after having a very solid first 2 years as a DC. That makes me think that there's a more than outside chance of Nick Rallis being DC next year. New scheme. He doesn't have the carte blanche, but I'm taking this with me. Let's go, guys. This is my scheme now. I don't know. Maybe he'll call the defense of a different scheme if Robert Salah comes in and he wants to run that much more just militaristic. This is the defense. This is what it's going to be, and not, let's throw 5 safeties out there and see what happens. And I'm not saying that's not fair. They had to get creative last year. There's no way they're coming back, right? If Drew, quite literally, if Drew Petzing is the offensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals next year, I feel like there is going to be an upheaval that we haven't seen ever from Cardinals fans. Now, scapegoat, sure. The offense looked a little bit better with Jacoby Brissett. Yeah. They didn't have a run game because they didn't have any running backs. Yeah. Is that Drew Petzing's fault? No. But it's too far gone. I think the same thing with Kyler Murray. It's just too far gone. Better, worse, indifferent. It's too far gone. Nick Rallis, I wouldn't be upset with. I think the bones are good there. Not like him physically. The defensive side, it's just hard to overlook the 40 burgers after the bye week, the multiple 40 burgers after the bye week, regardless of opponent, regardless of who it was against. And it obviously depends on who they. So I guess the rational way to look at this, they don't know who they're going to hire. If it's a guy that's going to bring their dudes, then you let him go. If it's a first time guy, maybe You have Nick Rallis stick around? Like, if it's an offensive-minded guy and no offensive guy that the Cardinals would actually hire will have coached before. I mean, Mike McCarthy's already in Pittsburgh having conversations with the Pittsburgh guy. Brian Daboll, he's probably going to go to Buffalo, I would assume, if he wants to be a head coach at all this year. So it's like, if you bring in an offensive guy, that terrifies me for the defense. So you just keep Nick Rallis? Do you believe the second half of last year when the injuries really started to build, or the year before where the defense was good? These are still like ongoing questions that don't really have an answer. Obviously, if they don't retain Drew Petzing or Nick Rallis, I think there's going to be a sigh of relief, obviously more on the Petzing side. But it is just to me a little weird that we haven't heard diddly. Obviously an afterthought because they need a head coach first, but nothing, not a word in weeks. I don't know. Maybe it's just the Cardinals being the Cardinals. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Remember, without you, there is no me. I will talk to you tomorrow.